Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to join with you with her fantastic film, Welcome to 8th Street. Let's take a look at the clip.
Okay, these are the last of the boxes.
Oh, finally. That's all of it.
Did you take your allergy pills today?
Oh, the pollen.
Hey.
Are you seeing this?
Who's that guy?
Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family in person.
Yay!
Your second film with us, right?
Second film, and thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. And like, oh my goodness, like, I watched your film twice on a laptop, but there's nothing that quite makes it when you see it on the big screen.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. So it's so nice to do it in person. I'm so happy to be here and was here yesterday, so thank you.
Well, everyone loved and adored you at the festival, but for those that haven't seen your film, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, so it's about newcomers who move from California to Jersey City, 8th Street to be specific, and enough weird things happen to question their decision to move there, and everything changes when Wild Turkey comes to town.
Wild Turkey does come to town,
Yes.
literally. This is, this story, I mean, this is obviously in the incredible form of stop motion, but there is some truth to inspiration to this
Yeah,
story. Where did that start?
Yeah, everything I write is really a slice of life experience about had. Sometimes I narrow it down, sometimes I stretch it. So this story in particular, while I think I said that yesterday, Wild Turkey did come to 8th Street, and the real story is way crazier than the one I depicted on the animated short, but I just couldn't make it that big. But anyway, but it was really, it's one of those moments, and I wasn't doing stop motion at the time, so I remember witnessing the mayhem shenanigan, and I thought, this is amazing. I hope I get to tell this story one day. And I just kind of shoved it in my brain, and then a couple years later, I got to tell the story.
You are brilliant at this. Like,
Oh,
I'm
thank
not,
you.
I honestly, like, I was, from the very first frame, I was like, oh my goodness, I've just gone into a world, right? And there's nothing quite like creating characters in the way that you did. And these particular characters were so, I was like in love with them. I was like, oh my God, you're taking me on this street into this world. It was amazing. How, like, you haven't always done stop motion, have you?
No, I was a fashion designer for almost 20 years.
Yep.
I call it very unhappy fashion designer. I was happy for first 10 years, but I knew I was in a wrong format. And when you're creative doing not the right creative outlet, you're just miserable. So I couldn't figure out what to do. I became a mom, and it coincided with my midlife crisis. And I thought, okay, let's turn my life upside down. And I plucked the family, and I have a very supportive husband. And we moved from Jersey City, New Jersey, to Los Angeles in 2017. And then I started making stop motion music videos to entertain my daughter, because I didn't know how to, make animation, but I could take pictures. So I grabbed my camera and started doing it, and I just fell in love with the medium. So for a year and a half, I made 3 music videos, and I thought it's a really expensive hobby, so why don't I do something about it? And I just wrote a little nice essay and applied to USC MFA program, got in, and then went to school in 2019, and here I am.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Does your daughter know that not every mom is as talented as you? Like, does she know? Does not everyone gets to make, videos and stop motion?
She knows her mom is has crazy work ethic. That she does know. And I do work out of my garage, turn studio, so I do get to spend time with her. We eat every meal together. She's on vacation with her dad right now with our dogs, and I am working on another film, so I'm not on vacation. So it does require certain sacrifice.
Of course.
But I think if you love what you do, there's no limit to what you can do. And that's like, I talk about this every festival I go. I'm lucky enough to be part of. I went back to school when I was 47. So I would just really want to tell myself and everybody, it's never too late. Just go after whatever you are passionate about, however big or small it might be.
Absolutely, and you really inspired our audience last night. You got a big cheer last night when you said that, because I think it's really important for people to hear that,
Yes.
whatever dream you're fighting for, or if you want to change careers or move in a direction that's like where you feel like you belong, or to try, try any time at any point in your life.
It's never too late.
So yeah. But no, you got so much more films to make. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, it was amazing because the detail of capturing this. I mean, I've lived in New Jersey, New York area, so I've really understood and know. Right? And I was like, this is it. Like this is it. Like I mean, everything from the stoops to everything. Like you really encapsulated
Thank
it.
You.
How do you, obviously you live there, but what's the kind of research you went into sort of to really articulate this street?
And that's why I love stop motion, and thanks for recognizing that. It's the texture of it all. It's the texture from the people and their grittiness, and also from the street and stoop. Nothing is perfect, and everything is kind of worn down, and it's sort of like stop motion. And the reason I love stop motion so much, in my opinion, the stop motion that I do, because I have a very small studio and very limited resources. It's never perfect, so it's always imperfect. And everything I do, you'll see a handprint, wax for the eyeball. Like there's a hand tangibility to everything I craft, and I think that's kind of is reflective of the street that New York or New Jersey is as well. So I think that imperfection and grittiness, textures.
Yeah, but also I feel like with all of that, you're telling the story too. I mean, because those New York and New Jersey is a bit more gritty than Los Angeles. It's not as like clean cut the way that it kind of looks anyway. And even people like you even just had the expressions of people, and like you kind of felt what kind of day they have just experienced, or what the encounter was in front. And so now, for anyone that's not done stop motion, of course, like how long was this process that you took? And because it takes a lot of time, precision. How was that experience for you?
So animation takes a lot of time, but I think stop motion is most laborious. So I like to do 24 frames per second.
Yes.
So that means you're moving every little bit and taking a little shot, 24 shot to make a second. So I was just telling you earlier before the interview, it's a really good day if I happen to film 4 seconds. And then you have to fabricate everything. But this one, from the inception to the finish, it took a year, and I think it was a big challenge. But I like a challenge, and it's sort of like and it is a painful process. I don't sleep much when the filming is going on. So it's like I instead of peeling the bandage slowly, I like to just rip it apart. So I think 1 year doing a short, it's a little painful, but it hits the mark for me. So I can move on to other stories.
And again, you had some really brilliantly distinctive characters in this film. Like, I was everything from, just the neighbors, the relationships, the experiences, also what it's like moving to a new place where you feel like, what have I just moved into? Like, what is this place?
I think we all experience that,
We all, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially like obviously in this case, they come from like California, a whole different ball game, to like New Jersey, like, and so is it fun making these characters?
It's so fun, and I have to credit the voice actors.
Yeah, so
like,
good. You're
they're
voice
so
actors.
good, and of course, casting directors are important too, ABL casting, and I think everybody brought something special. But what was really important to me, every main character I cast had to be from New Jersey or Korean background for Eugene. So like I went looking for people who had a skin in the game and brought authenticity to the story. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But I really have to thank all the voice actors. Without them, I don't think you would have had the experience that you had watching it.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to how important authenticity is in film as well, and any format, obviously, as well. So, and then that's why it works so beautifully, right? Come on, Now, obviously there's a lot involved in making a film like this, and I think if you can really appreciate just how the length of 24 frames a second, is a lot of patience.
Right.
What was the most challenging thing you experienced in making this film?
Well, the space.
Yeah.
And this is such a nice space right here. Like, so I work at a 2-car garage that turned into studio. So you can imagine, and it was a big set. So I worked with this amazing DP, Aaron, and he was such a understanding of the limitation we had. So he and I were moving sets around. There were times, because the sets were so big, we couldn't even, we shouldn't say this, we couldn't even exit the studio. So we are crawling underneath the set. So I would say that, but that was hard. But you know, I think the limitation, I always say this, is actually like a blessing in disguise, because if you are given a film to make without any limitation, how could you narrow that down? So for me, limitation gave me the boundaries and push my resource to the limit to be creative and come up with a solution. So I've been lucky enough with every film I made were funded by very generous organization. This one in particular was HBO Max Access Program by Warner Brothers. And what I like to do, and this is a challenge I take up on myself, and I make a conscious decision not to go over the budget. I don't do crowdfunding if I'm lucky enough to get a funding. So it's like, okay, this is what we're given, so let's do what we can with this and stretch it as much as we can. So that's how I work.
Amazing, and my goodness me, you know, it's so great. There's a program that gives you that freedom to,
Absolutely.
you know, make what you should deserve to create.
We need more in the United States.
We do, 100%.
Yes.
Now, I think like one of the loveliest things in any, especially stop motion, is hearing an audience reaction.
Yes.
Because you really,
there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it, because especially in this format, people really from the get-go appreciate the work that's gone into it. They know, most people know the work that goes into, not quite the depth, but they know the work.
They're familiar.
They're familiar.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it's definitely a very popular. How was that? How has the experience been with an audience? Because I'm sure last night was great. The reactions last night were great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. And I don't think there's anything more rewarding for filmmakers than to see the audience react and also see your film on a large screen. Yeah, you know, like that's what I don't like about nowadays, what's going on with the streaming and laptop or phone. I don't watch anything on the phone, by the way. But to see it on large screen, I think cinema is so important, and audience is so important. Like I like to say this all the time, I harvest their energy. I need their energy to make sense to why I'm doing this, because it's utterly crazy, so I can make another film, so I can get another reaction and see it again. So that's what I work for.
That's well, listen, you better be making more films. We're not done yet, okay? We've got more to do, okay? Which brings me on to this last question. What is next?
I'm working on the longest one I've ever made, and for me, like 13 minutes, 12 minutes is a really long time. But luckily for me, it's a half live action, half stop motion. But this time, it's not a comedy. This is a documentary. But it's actually like made for somebody like me who is passionate about something I do. And I'm asking question, what is life about? And will I have a regret later? And to get that answer, I went out seeking for a person who I thought might have that answer. So I'm following a journey of wildflower photographer in Korea who's done this for over 40 years. And I ask him all the question and I follow his journey.
Amazing. Oh my goodness, we're ready for it.
Thank you.
So 30 minutes now. We're moving up.
It's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I have to finish next spring.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky enough to get funding from this as well, from Dirty Film and Netflix and USC Edinburgh. So very, very lucky.
Well, no, you well deserve it. Okay, well, you really do. And honestly, I'm so, you know, it's not easy being a filmmaker, but my goodness me, you've got great stories to tell. So we're looking forward to seeing your third film now. Can you bring your third film back to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. But well done. I hope your daughter knows how talented you are and lucky. And so we're looking forward to seeing your next project.
Thank you so much
for being here.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yay.